CNN's senior national security correspondent, Alex Marquardt, joins us now. Alex, what have you learned?
Well, significant international implications, Allison and Victor. And of course, the big question right now is a question over Article 5, as Sam was just describing it, an all for one, one for all. Of course, as you know well, when NATO is attacked, the fundamental basis of the NATO Charter is that when one nation in NATO is attacked, that the others will come to its aid in a military conflict. So the biggest question that is going to be tried to answer now is that question of intent. We do know, of course, that Russia was intending to strike Ukraine today in a very significant way. Scores of missiles raining down all across Ukraine from the east coast, from the eastern side of the country, where, of course, so much of the fighting is happening, all the way to Lviv in the west, which has been relatively quiet, I should say, since the start of the conflict. There have been some attacks around Lviv. There have been strikes on military installations. There have been strikes on civilian and energy infrastructure. But for the most part, the western side of Ukraine has been relatively spared in this conflict. So the question now, did Russia go too far, and did they make a mistake? Did they overshoot what they intended to with those missiles landing in Poland, or did they actually intend to strike Poland? That is less likely, and you would have to hope that in this moment that Russia is trying to make assurances to Poland and to the rest of NATO that was not their intent. We do not know that for now. We are certainly making a lot of calls right now to our sources at the White House, at the Pentagon, in the intelligence community to try to figure out what that intent by Russia was. But President Joe Biden has made it clear, and he has said repeatedly since the beginning of this war, that the U.S. and the rest of the countries in NATO would come to the aid of NATO countries if they were to be attacked. Take a listen to this from President Biden in September, just a couple weeks ago.
America is fully prepared with our NATO allies to defend every single inch of NATO territory. Every single inch. So, Mr. Putin, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Every inch.
So as we try to get more details about what exactly happened in Poland, what the number of casualties are, we do know that there has been a national security meeting that has been convened by the Polish government. You can certainly imagine that the Poles, both here in Washington as well as in Warsaw, are calling their NATO counterparts, likely calling Moscow as well, to try to figure out what on earth happened here and to get a sense of what will come next. Again, it is really a question of whether Article 5 is part of that conversation, whether the Russians are making any kind of assurances right now that this was indeed a mistake. Allison and Victor.